All right, so we're essentially at the halfway point of the regular season, entering week 6 of 11. Um, we know that a lot is going to happen between now and December that will affect our Super Centex awards. But this is fun to do. Give me your mid-season winners for Coach of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. And people, if you're listening, do not hold us to this. Again, stuff will
Well,
change.
and here's a little asterisk. When we sit down to pick these teams, we usually do it right before Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and playoff stats figure heavily into it. Because like
Absolutely.
guys like Tank Scott, who I mentioned earlier, had I don't know triple digit tackles last year. I can't remember if it was 110 or 190, although that's a big difference. I probably
And
should
what
look that.
these guys' teams do in the playoffs matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, when
Hmm.
you play 5 extra games, your stats get way pushed. That's an extra half season. So.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Michael.
All right. Well, for coach of the year, I wrote down like six names that I
Mm-hmm.
think could win it, but I'll stick to maybe one or two. I think John Bachtel of Fairfield
Mm-hmm.
is off to a really nice start, and with the senior leadership that he has, and being able to put forth a team that is really dominating on all cylinders, that's impressive stuff. And then
Yeah,
uh,
they entered the state rankings. We
they
finally,
did they
we
did.
talked them up enough that maybe Texas football hurt us.
Yeah, I'll leave some of these other names off in case. I mean, there's several others that are appetizing for sure. Player of the year, I'll throw out two names, and none of them are Tank Scott, which is crazy because Tank Scott is certainly of that caliber. But Cole Collins of Fairfield. I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
you look, the crazy thing, and we haven't talked about this enough with him. Like pull up Stats Plus in a day or two and look at his numbers. He's up at the top, which is remarkable. I mean, his numbers are insane, dude. He's only playing like 2 quarters a game. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
not, trust me, they're not just leaving him out there for 4 quarters in some of these blowouts. Like I've seen it, and like if you pull up his Twitter, he'll say like uh, 20 for 24 passing, 200 yards, 5 touchdowns, and then at the bottom it'll say 2.5 quarters played. It's like so his numbers are off the charts, and he's not even playing full games. So I think he's in consideration now. The one player that I had high expectations for going into the year, and I think if you're looking at it from a like both sides of the ball kind of thing. I think Amos Phillips of Gatesville
Mm-hmm.
is sneaky for he was our defensive player of the year last year, and
Right.
he wreaks havoc on that side of the ball, but he's one of our area leaders as a receiver too.
Yep. Yep.
And anyone in Gatesville will tell you he's their best player, and they go as far as he goes.
I
Um,
called him in the little preview capsule for Gatesville's game last week. I called him famous Amos Phillips. How
yeah.
about that?
Well, he's kind of our like Central Texas Travis Hunter, doing it on both sides as a receiver and a DB. He's really good. And just to round out here, I won't take too much time. Defensive Player of the Year, still kind of early to. All of these are early to tell. Things can change, but two stats that jumped off the page when I'm looking through Stats Plus and thinking about team success. Russell Foy of Frost, eight
Okay.
sacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that too.
Holy smoke! In four
Mm-hmm.
games, and like I know they're going to get tested a little bit more in this district. Not that they've played anyone soft, but you know what I mean. Like they're gonna, like those numbers might kind of even out a little
They
bit.
got to play all those teams we were just
But
talking
like
about.
like you still got to get 2 sacks a game to have 8 through 4 games. That's
Mm-hmm.
impressive. And then Connor Colvert of Fairfield, 6 interceptions is
Yeah.
nuts too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are all the names. I've left it there on the table. I'll let you take it over, Chad.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna mention Tank at Bremond, 342 rushing yards the other night, 700 for the year. Pretty good. They're throwing the ball pretty. I don't know. They didn't really open up the passing game much the other night. I think that they just felt like they could grind that one and win it that way. And they had an interception in the first half that might have been kind of it's like, why are we trying to do that when we can get the ball to Tank and let him roll.
You also mentioned only 700 yards. I mean, he's averaging 10 a carry. He's not
Uh-huh,
he doesn't
uh-huh.
have triple digit
Well, the
carries
reason
yet.
I said only is our fastest man to the fastest man to 1,000 yards, which is an official designation. It's we call it the Jadavion Sunday Award. Just kidding, making all this up as I go along. Remember when Jadavion
Oh
Sunday hit
yeah.
1,000 in like the fourth game of the year?
Yeah. Yeah. It was insane.
Uh-huh. But Evan Moreno hit 1,000 yards the other night, and that's through the first 5 games, I guess. And kind of had kind of a light workload in that game. So and that's a guy I've seen a lot this year, and has been. I mean, in the comeback win they had over Glen Rose, he was huge in that one. So yeah, those two guys on offense have stood out the most to me, both running backs. So that's running back, and having a great running back is still a huge asset in this game of football. The defense, on the defensive side, another Robinson player, actually a couple of Robinson players. I've seen them 2 out of 5 weeks so far, but Armies for them has been very active, as has Cash Clear. Army's first name is
Landon.
Huh?
I think it's Landon, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I've got it right here. I'm right on top of it. It is Landon. Congratulations, Bryce. You win. Bryce, do you know every player in the Super Centex area?
I will say this, as you recall, and as Michael has learned, when you're doing Stats Plus every week, those names get ingrained in your skull.
Certainly.
The thing I like about Landon Army is he Cash Clear has more tackles and more like superlative plays for Robinson, but Landon is just very active for them. Tank is a great defensive player too. Only 25 tackles so far this year, so he's a little off his pace that he set last year. But it's just great. It's just great 2A football to mention his astounding numbers from last year. Triple digits in tackles and 1,600 yards rushing.
Not just triple digits in tackles. If I recall, I think he had 190 tackles last year.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous.
How
about your coach of the year?
Coach of the year, I wanted to mention Jose Aguirre at
Jose Aguirre. Oh,
Gatesville.
Yeah.
Is it Aguirre? I know I asked him about it specifically.
Maybe it is Aguirre. I've always said Aguirre.
I just know that there was
Aguirre too. Like
there was
he was on my list though, Chad. I thought about saying him.
A volleyball player at a great volleyball player for Crawford last year. Her name was pronounced Aguirre, and so that kind of threw me off. I always default to Mark Aguirre, the great 80s and 90s
Dallas Mavericks, number 24.
And then he got traded to the Pistons, right?
Yes, he did. Yes,
and he ended up being a bad boy Piston.
That's right. He was like best friends with Isaiah Thomas, and Isaiah kind of facilitated that trade. Adrian Dantley for
one thing about him, he's first year head coach there at Gatesville, and they've had a good first half of the season. There's no denying that. Now they got a tough second half coming at them.
So you guys stole a lot of my picks, but I'll just throw out a couple other names.
What did you think was going to happen?
Well, no, this is what I figured would happen. You're smart. I'll just throw out a couple other names. Just when we do pick the Super Centex team, we generally have 6-8 guys that we consider as like candidates for the offensive player of the year, the defensive player of the year, sometimes even more. And coach of the year, I remember last year we probably had 8 or 10 coaches that we were looking at. Another first year coach doing a good job, Ty Robinson out in Crawford. Obviously got the Pirates going in the right direction. I certainly like what John Bechtel's doing, what Jose Aguirre is doing, or Aguirre. Somebody in Gatesville tell us how to pronounce his name. But
I asked him point blank, and now I can't remember what he said.
It's okay. I'll ask him for you.
That probably isn't a good thing to advertise.
A couple other offensive guys. I mean, I think you got to talk about Lathan Wissington. He's a friggin' stud. And then London Smith.
Definitely. He's having a good year.
Yeah, obviously having a really, really good year. Those guys, 5A and 6A, you may not end up with quite the numbers that you might have down in 2A, but their numbers are really good, So, and then defensively, I mean, Tank comes to mind, but as Chad said, 25 tackles isn't jumping off the page, but it's just impressive anytime a kid's making that kind of impact on both sides. But I do like when we, on our defensive guy, obviously you want a guy that's a great playmaker, but sometimes you want somebody that's a reflective of a really great defense too, you know? And so I could see, you know, Michael, you might have to help me out on this. Like if Chilton kept up the kind of defensive pace they are, or if Fairfield, um, you know, have they given up 12 points all year? Is that what we said?
Chilton
No,
or
or
Fairfield?
Fairfield.
Let me see.
It's
Fairfield has given up. No, that Fairfield's given up more than it's. So Chilton's given up 12. Fairfield's given up. Here, I can do some quick math here.
well, anyway,
55, 68 points.
Okay.
okay, still pretty good.
Right.
So you know, what I'm saying is we might look to a great defensive team for their best player. You mentioned Culver, who leads the area in interceptions. So yeah,